Coach Vance Newgard here, Senior International Olympic Weightlifting Coach and Professor of Sport and Exercise Science. So when I inherit athletes at the college, the biggest issue I have to correct is their inability to stay over the bar, keep their shoulders over the bar. This is partially due to because that is kind of the default movement when performing the pull. Your body is not aware that you have to pull under the bar, so you'd by default do some things that feel faster, but you're not moving you and the bar in one unit. And I'm going to go over some of the other issues on how to correct this. The other problem is that if your balance is incorrect, if your pressure is not on the ankles itself, none of this matters. If the balance is on the front of the foot, the ball of the foot, you are going to end up behind the bar. If the balance is on the heel during the pull, towards the end of the movement, you are going to end up behind the bar. So the first thing to do is correct balance within the Olympic lifts themselves, but there are some exercises that will help once that is corrected.
When athletes really start leaning their shoulders back is when the bar is about mid-thigh. So snatches from the mid-thigh are an underutilized exercise to develop proper motor patterns. All the high thigh power position snatches don't really matter if the rest of the pull is not correct to begin with. Athletes should focus on pushing with their legs and imagining they are trying to hit a balloon hovering over the top of their head.
A prerequisite for doing full lifts correctly is having the strength necessary to do them correctly. Too many coaches rush their athletes through the full lifts, which develops bad habits. Do a pull with slow lowering and going down through their technique is very useful for developing strength over the bar and learning proper motor development. Super slow pulls to the hip in both the concentric and eccentric phases not only develops proper movement patterns, but increases the static strength necessary to hold proper positions. Using the blocks is very popular, but often done incorrectly. Athletes initiate the movement by leaning the shoulders back before pushing with their legs, which swings the bar forward. They're trying to get extra momentum when they should be focused on developing their starting strength and rate of force development, which is best done from a static start. To use the blocks correctly, it is important to get into strict position first. Lift the chest to put a slight pressure on the bar, take the slack out of the arms, and just push from the ankles. The focal point should be forward and down to keep the head from moving back and the shoulders following the head. My preference is to add a pull to the hip with an exaggerated position over the bar before performing the snatch to reinforce proper positions. Although not a perfect replication of the pull, I like high pulls because they give you instant feedback on whether or not you stayed over the bar and had proper balance. If the bar moves forward or you fall backwards, it is an indication that you straightened the torso too early.